Xianxia had enemies, and those that entered the inner city had to join the army. If they fought, Xianxia would be in the army, and the enemy would be easy to deal with. It's fine, I've asked around, if Alchemist were to go in, we can avoid fighting and get the best protection, right? Xianxia said. You are still Alchemist? Yan Guang laughed. I really can't tell. Alchemist should not be like you, who likes to cause trouble. Hee. Next time if there's a chance, let's have a drink together. I'll go to the inner city first. Xianxia waved at Yan Guang, then turned and walked towards the inner city. When entering the inner city, they did not need to return any jade money, as long as they passed one of their equipment tests, and proved that they were at the 3rd level of Dao Dan realm, they would be able to enter. After passing the test, Xianxia was now in the 3rd level of the Dao Dan realm. He was able to enter the inner city and even gave him a jade tablet. After entering, Xianxia found a small booklet that stated the rules to be observed in the inner city. Could be seen that in the inner city it was much stricter than outside. At least he was safe and did not need to worry about undead divine race and the rest coming in to cause trouble. Seeing the contents of the booklet, Xianxia understood a lot about the rules of the inner city. I still have a year's time before I enter. I will be joining the army in a year. If I don't want to, I must leave the inner city, and I can't enter the inner city again for 1,000 years. Xianxia felt that this was pretty good. After a year, he would be able to sit through a lot of things. He only joined the army 3 years ago. Xianxia kept the booklet and strolled around. There were a lot of people in the inner city. Many of them had killing intent written all over their face. One could tell that they were people who had experienced the battles before. Xianxia had a lot of jade money now, but he had asked around, even if there were a lot of them, he would still have to join the army. This was a very strict rule, everyone was an exception, even if their status was very noble. There's still a year left. I should take advantage of this time to train and improve my strength as much as possible. I'll decide whether or not I want to join the army here. I'll decide after a year. Xianxia found a pretty good inn where he started cultivating and so on. It was not bad, and the price was very cheap. He and Chu Hongqing were refining Qingyuan Dan at a faster and faster rate. Chu Hongqing would also occasionally eat one and cultivate. With the help of the world god spring, they were able to grow a large amount of Qingyuan Dan and the herbs they needed. With the help of a large number of Qingyuan Dan, Xianxia practically broke through stage 1 every 3 months. A year's time passed and he was now stage 7 of the Dao Dan realm, which was even more powerful than before. If it was anyone else, they would definitely not be able to break through as quickly as he did. The fastest would be several years, and some might even need up to 100 years. The reason he was so fast was also because he had a large number of Qingyuan Dan. Even if it was a very wealthy person, if they didn't have a suitable pill to eat, it would be useless. Xianxia walked out of the tavern and headed towards a tall building. Previously, his jade tablet had vibrated a few times, reminding him to report the fact that he had joined the army. When he arrived at the tall building, he saw that there were a few people waiting there as well. They were here to register. A year of time passed by extremely quickly for Xianxia, especially when he was in closed-door cultivation. A year has passed. I wonder how those fellows from undead divine race are doing. Xianxia recalled the group of people who spoke at the city gate a year ago, and it seemed to have happened only yesterday. You shouldn't have to worry about anything inside. Those guys don't even dare to come in. Chu Hongqing said. Her cultivation had also increased by a lot. She was already at the 10th stage of the Dao Dan realm, and had been preparing to charge into the Daopa realm, thanks to the Qingyuan Dan. At this time, a middle-aged man dressed in white walked out. It was City Lord Yan Guang. When he saw Xianxia, he was stunned, then laughed. I had thought that you had already left the inner city. I didn't expect that you had always been here. I'm not a coward. Xianxia laughed. City Lord, you sure are nosy, taking responsibility for this kind of thing. Yan Guang laughed bitterly. My position in the City Lord has already been taken, so I can only do this kind of thing. Those guys are in the outer city right now. They didn't come in. Yan Guang began to help the others register. Why didn't they come in? Xianxia asked. Most of them are deserters here, they have all joined the army back then, but they ran away before the time even passed, so if they wanted to enter the inner city, they would have to wait for more than 10,000 years. As for the others who have never entered the inner city before, because of their current cultivation level is very high, once they enter the inner city, they will have to immediately join the army. Xianxia did not know about these things. When he first came in, the booklet had only mentioned the rules related to his cultivation. Senior, I am an alchemist, and am able to refine intermediate king-grade pellets. Do I need to go onto the battlefield? Xianxia asked. If you can really refine it, there's no need for that. If you perform well, you will be rewarded. Yan Guang said, I'll help you register now. When the time comes, you can go take the examination. If you pass, it will naturally be easier. Xianxia nodded and accepted the jade tablet that Yan Guang handed to him. At this time, Yan Guang had nothing else to do, so he brought him to undergo the alchemy exam. Old Lu, someone came to take the test? Are you still sleeping? Yan Guang brought Xianxia to a courtyard at the back of the building and shouted as he knocked on the door. Come in. I'm so busy. How can I have time to sleep? An old man's voice came from inside. Yan Guang pushed the door open and entered with Xianxia. After entering, Xianxia immediately smelt a medicinal fragrance. Someone was concocting pills. Refining Dao Mark Dan? Xianxia asked. In the courtyard, there was an old man concocting pills. That's right. We are in urgent need of a large number of Dao Mark Dan. The old man nodded. How do you know? I can smell it. Xianxia was a little doubtful. Aren't Dao Mark Dan eaten by the Dao Ti realm? All the people who entered were at the 3rd level of Dao Dan realm. Why do they need Dao Mark Dan? One look and you can tell that you just entered not long ago. If you have children born in the inner city, then there will be no limit. Right now, there are quite a few little kids with Dao Ti realm S who need to quickly cultivate and create Dao marks. The old man said, then we'll need a lot of pills to break through the Dao Dan realm. The war is about to start, and every alchemist has a huge burden on them. Old Lu. This kid said he knows how to refine Qingyuan Dan and wants you to take it. Yan Guang laughed. If he can refine Dao Mark Dan, then we can pass. The inner city is lacking alchemist S. This is a medicinal ingredient. You should have a pill furnace. No matter how much he can refine it, I will consider it as you pass. Old Lu said. Refining Dao Mark Dan was a piece of cake for Xianxia. But right now he was safe in the inner city, and now that there was a war going on outside, he did not want to participate in it, so he would perform well. If he performed well, the White Spirit City would protect him even more. Ibdu. Xianxia took out the heavenly furnace, grabbed the medicinal ingredients and began to refine them. He smiled. Senior, if I am able to refine them, do I not have to fight outside anymore? Of course. But, if the White Spirit City S were to be breached, the alchemist S that are hiding inside would have to go up by themselves. Old Lu sighed. Over all these years, there have been a few times when we faced such dangers, and we were almost sent to the battlefield of Alchemist. Yan Guang laughed. So, all of you alchemists must work hard and refine even more good pills. Only by doing this will we be able to make our warriors stronger, and we don't have to worry about our White Spirit City being breached. Xianxia had already started refining. If it wasn't to scare them too much, when he used the bones in his eyes to refine the pills, his speed would have increased even more. Yan Guang also didn't leave. He also wanted to see if Xianxia could really refine pills, since he still didn't really understand Xianxia at all. All he knew was that Xianxia really cared not for his life, to actually dare offend the undead divine race and that evil spirit race, and even scolded them like that at the city gate. When Xianxia was refining the Dao Mark Dan, he had steadily used 4 of them. Now, he was refining according to this standard, and in less than an hour, he had already finished 1 furnace. All right, Xianxia suddenly said, which surprised Yan Guang and Old Lu. It recovered so quickly? Old Lu was also a rather powerful alchemist, so he was the most surprised at this moment. Of course he could have such speed, but Xianxia was only a young man in his eyes. Xianxia opened the pill furnace and Old Lu anxiously walked over to take a look. Seeing the 4-quality Dao Mark Dan S, he immediately praised, "Good boy, your standards are really high. I have truly underestimated you." Xianxia only laughed humbly. "Senior, you're the awesome one. You're going to refine 10 sets of ingredients at the same time. You're probably planning on refining a lot of pills in one go, right? You also saw through that. Old Lu chuckled. You can stay now, you can stay with me from now on. We'll focus on refining Dao Mark Dan. Chun Xiang nodded. Yan Guang had already confirmed that Chun Xiang knew how to refine pills, and that his level was extremely high. He bid farewell to Chun Xiang and the others and left. Chun Xiang chatted with Old Lu while concocting pills. Old Lu's full name was Lu Yuchuan, and he grew up in the White Spirit City. He was an elder in the White Spirit City's alchemy department. Senior, is this all our mission today? Chun Xiang looked at the pile of herbs. No, this is our mission this month. Our alchemist also needs some rest. Lu Yuchuan laughed. If we are fast enough, we will have a lot of time to rest. That small pile of medicinal ingredients had around 500 of them, which was extremely rare for Chun Xiang. If he was willing, he could complete it in a day. Senior, how many alchemists like you are here? Chun Xiang said. He planned to use the 1,000 refinements method to refine it later. There are more than 10 of them, but they are different from me. They have quite a few ghosts following them, so they also have quite a few missions. Lu Yuchuan laughed. Don't worry. I won't push all these issues to you like they will. Chun Xiang had finished refining another batch of pills. This time he was much faster than last time, shocking Lu Yuchuan yet again. Following that, Chun Xiang used the 10,000 refinements method and refined 5 batches of Dao Mark Dan S at the same time. Lu Yuchuan was originally more satisfied with his own speed. He could refine 10 batches of S at once, which was equivalent to 10 batches of S. Now that he saw Chun Xiang using this method to control 5 pill furnaces at the same time, if his speed was like before, he would definitely be faster then. Where the hell did you come from? How amazing could it be, the disciples of those legendary Dao sovereigns? Seeing how fast Chun Xiang's few magic method furnace were progressing, Lu Yuchuan could not help but exclaim, I came in from the outside. What new 8 wastelands is it? Chun Xiang then told Lu Yuchuan about the new 8 wastelands. He did not know much about it and only knew a little. Knowing that Chun Xiang had only hidden here because he had stirred up trouble, Lu Yuchuan laughed. In fact, many people have provoked powerful people. It wasn't just you who had to enter this place without a choice. Therefore, you don't have to worry about those guys coming for revenge. They wouldn't dare to offend the 3 Dao sovereigns who founded this city. Are those 3 Dao sovereigns very powerful? That sounds really good. Chun Xiang asked. He had already heard Yan Guang talk about it before. Of course they're strong. I've only heard of them before, but I have never seen them before. Yan Guang has actually seen them a few times. In short, they are all mysterious people. Lu Yuchuan said. Other than that, the 3 great native bank S are very mysterious here. There were cities that were destroyed in the Spirit Wasteland, but the 3 great native bank S inside were not harmed at all. Chun Xiang was also relatively familiar with the 3 great native bank S. They were arranged by the heavenly Dao in this era to control the various powers of this era. In the next few days, Chun Xiang and Lu Yuchuan worked very hard, and all the medicinal ingredients were completed. Brat, you're even more than a dozen times stronger than those other guys. We have more than 20 days to rest. Lu Yuchuan laughed. Yan Guang had come here twice to help Chun Xiang create the alchemist's identity jade token. As long as Chun Xiang refined pills in the inner city for a full 3 years, he would be able to casually walk around in the inner city without being restricted in the slightest. Of course, he could also continue to stay in the army to refine pills and help them develop. What's our mission next month? Chun Xiang asked. For the time being, I don't know. No matter what it is, with our speed, we'll be able to quickly finish it. Lu Yuchuan was very happy at the moment, because with Chun Xiang joining them, he became very relaxed. These things were all very easy for Chun Xiang. During his rest time, he himself was refining a Qingyuan Dan, but he was still at the Dao Dan realm. Compared to the other rankers in the undead divine race, he was simply too weak. Very quickly, more than 20 days had passed, and Lu Yuchuan had returned with a batch of medicinal ingredients. Brat, we have work to do, Lu Yuchuan shouted. Chun Xiang anxiously walked out. Looking at the fruit jar that Lu Yuchuan took out, he frowned. What pill is this? I seem to have never seen or even recognized this medicinal herb before. Don't worry, there will be a pill formula. With your level, you will quickly be able to master it. Lu Yuchuan laughed. Just as Xianxia took out a fruit, Yan Guang ran in and anxiously said, Old Lu, all the alchemists from other cities are looking for you by name, but I don't know why. Lu Yuchuan appeared to be very calm as he said, Let's go. Let's take a look and see if that bastard is really bored. Yan Guang and Lu Yuchuan followed him towards a palace in the inner city. Although Chun Xiang had been in the inner city for more than 20 days, he had never played around here before. This is the White Spirit Palace. These are the residences of the 3 Dao sovereigns. Who exactly is the background of the alchemist? How could they have such treatment and be able to live in the White Spirit Palace? Lu Yuchuan was no longer as calm as before, and was a little flustered. Don't worry, he said. I don't know exactly what's going on. You've been doing pretty well over the years, old Lu. You 3 Dao sovereigns definitely know that. Yan Guang said. Arriving at the spacious hall inside the palace, Chun Xiang and Lu Yuchuan sat on chairs. Lu Yuchuan was a little perturbed at the moment, and looked extremely nervous. Not long after, 3 people walked in. One of them was an old man, while the other 2 were young and handsome. They were all well-dressed, giving people a sense of respect. The old man had some wrinkles on his face. He wore very old white clothes with a strand of white beard. When he smiled, he looked very benevolent. When someone walked in, Chun Xiang and Lu Yuchuan immediately stood up. This should be Elder Lu. Yan Guang often mentions you, and he is quite a famous alchemist master in our White Spirit City. A man said, I don't dare. Lu Yuchuan immediately smiled humbly and said, This is the Void City's Xianxia. I wonder if Elder Lu has heard of him. The man asked. Of course I've heard of it. Lu Yuchuan hurriedly nodded his head. Master Zhang is the #1 alchemist of the Void City. I have admired him for a long time. Chun Xiang was a little curious about the identities of the 2 men. Seems like they were not simple, and Yan Guang did not introduce them. Master Lu Chun, the reason why I came to look for you today is to solve a problem. I have just obtained a pill formula and I have the medicinal herbs, but I am unable to forge it. Zhang Qi said. Oh, I heard that there are even more alchemists in the Void City than our White Spirit City. Could it be that even the Void City's alchemist is unable to refine one? Lu Yuchuan said he was also very interested at the moment. Zhang Qi nodded. We were unable to refine it, so we came over. Lu Yuchuan looked at Yan Guang, and Yan Guang said, Actually, the Void City was also built by 3 Dao sovereigns, and these 2 are the disciples of one of them. They are all in the Void City. The disciple of the Dao sovereign. Lu Yuchuan's heart trembled. He did not realize that such a person was a very respected existence in his eyes. We have a total of 3 cities that belong to the Alliance. Soon we will have to fight against a few beast races. This pill formula was unintentionally obtained by the 3 Dao sovereigns, and even they are unable to refine it themselves. So I want to see which alchemist can take care of it. A man said. The fact that even the Dao sovereign was unable to refine it made Lu Yuchuan feel a lot of pressure. He felt that he would definitely be unable to refine it as well. Is this pill very powerful? Is it very helpful in battles? Chun Xiang, who had been silent all this time, suddenly asked. Yes, this pill is a high-grade king-level pill called the Shengdao Dan. It is a type of pill that can be advanced. In other words, the lowest grade of the Great Dao pill is a high-grade king-level pill. And if there are medicinal ingredients, then refining an emperor-level pill is not a problem. One of the men nodded, then asked, Brother, are you also an alchemist? I guess so. Elder Lu and I are together. Chun Xiang laughed. He was very interested in this kind of pill. The main thing is that the Dao Dan realm eats it, which can allow the Dao Dan realm to quickly step into the Dao Per realm, but there's no effect after the Dao Per realm eats it, so it's sufficient to have a high-grade king-level Shengdao Dan. The man said. Chun Xiang was having a headache as he did not know when he would be able to step into the Dao Per realm. He was currently at the 7th level of the Dao Dan realm, and it would be difficult to advance the next 3 stages. If we can successfully refine it with enough of them, we will have even more Dao Per realm warriors. Lu Yuchuan replied, I will do my best. After that, Xianxia told Lu Yuchuan all of the experiences that he gained from refining and gave him the ingredients for the pill. If I can concoct them, the 3 Dao sovereigns will definitely reward me handsomely. The man smiled and said, I'm just waiting for your good news. Lu Yuchuan was under a lot of pressure right now, so he could only nod his head. Because he wanted to refine this kind of Shengdao Dan, he didn't need to do the thing he just received. He asked Yan Guang to return these medicinal herbs. There were only 2 types of Shengdao Dan's medicine. They were not plants, but 2 stones, 1 red and 1 golden, only the size of a walnut. Xianxia had planned to copy some of it previously, but the stone could not do so at all. What's this? Xianxia looked at the stone inside the jade box and asked, Is it a stone? It's a stone, but it is indeed a very special stone. Just like plants and trees, it has a process of sprouting and blooming. Lu Yuchuan laughed. You probably haven't. No, I thought it was a stone. Xianxia heaved a sigh of relief in his heart, but he was still unsure if this stone could be planted. Elder Lu, are those beast races really that strong? Why do they fight all day? Xianxia understood that this kind of city would often face wars, and every time they fought, a lot of people would die. Very powerful, those beasts only need to eat some food to become strong. They don't need to train at all, and they are born with a tough body. Very powerful, those beasts only need to eat some food to become strong, so they don't need to cultivate at all. Lu Yuchuan said, I wonder if we can win this time. Xianxia felt that this spirit wasteland was also in a balanced state. It was obvious that there was some kind of power secretly controlling the development of humans and beasts. Otherwise, if one side was too strong, it would be hard to control. Xianxia took a few pieces of the Shengdao Danes, then returned to his own room. There were a lot of those stones, and Lu Yuchuan didn't mind if he took them to refine. He didn't dare to underestimate Xianxia because even when he was refining the Dao Markdan, he already felt that he was inferior to Xianxia. Hongqing Xiang Yin. Look and see if this can be planted. Xianxia placed the 2 stones into the Yu Yao mountain villa. All right, let's go try it out now, Chu Hongqing said. Xianxia also began refining the Shengdao Dan, putting the golden and red stones into the pill furnace. When he was in the main hall, he had heard from Xianxia about the difficulty in refining the ingredients. The main problem was that the ingredients were very special and strange, very different from the previous herbs. Xianxia understood that refining using a normal method would require a lot of time. I used the Chuangshi God furnace to trigger the creation flames. Even if I had to use all my strength, it would take me about a month to refine the 2 stones. Xianxia only had to try for 2 hours to roughly deduce the situation, so he immediately stopped. Because the method of directly using fire to refine the pellet was not very practical, Shengdao Dan required a large amount of pellets to begin with, so the refining speed had to be fast, which required at least 10 days. Xianxia would need a month to use the extremely terrifying creation flame, so the other alchemist would definitely need even more time. In order to understand more about this material, Xianxia used the Dao Heart Eye to look deeper into the stone. After carefully observing for an entire day, he discovered the reason why this stone was hard to refine. The main reason was that there were many tiny particles inside the stone that formed a natural formation that formed a very powerful barrier around the stone. Xianxia had only discovered this after observing for a long time. I was born with self-defense skills. There are many similar herbs, but they aren't as powerful as this rock. This rock is the equivalent of a small defensive array disk. Xianxia frowned. Furthermore, it has congealed into a stone state, so it looks like a Dao pill. The power contained within this rock should not be able to support the operation of such a powerful formation. It should have absorbed the power of the natural law principles. Not bad. This kind of stone should possess the special ability of a Dao pill and be able to absorb the heavenly energy of heaven and earth, which is why it can maintain the operation of the natural formation inside. At this time, Xianxia took a look at the Yu Yao mountain villa. Chu Hongqing and Yang Xiangyin were carefully taking care of some of the saplings that had just sprouted. Hongqing, are these 2 saplings planted using those stones? Xianxia asked. Yes, it's really strange. These 2 trees are quite special. I can feel that they are absorbing the heavenly energy from these trees. Chu Hongqing said. Chu Hongqing and Yang Xiangyin were the most clear about the flow of the heavenly energy inside, and Chun Xiang could only feel that the heavenly energy inside was flowing. He did not know what it was that was absorbing the heavenly energy, because he had already planted many medicinal herbs. Right now, Chun Xiang was sure that this stone was a Tao Dan condensed from plant life, and it was a little special, but after being refined and fused, one could make a person's Tao Dan realm advance by leaps and bounds. It really is a pretty good pill. I must concoct it. Chun Xiang thought for a while, then his eyes lit up. He thought of a way to use the crash method. In the past, when he used the crash method, he would only use it to clash with the medicinal liquid after refining the medicinal ingredients. In his eyes, these two stones were as hard as medicine crystals. When he was using the 3 crash, the medicine crystal was much stronger than this, so he felt that this method could work. Chun Xiang did not try it immediately. He went out to the courtyard and saw Lu Yuchuan shaking his head and sighing. Sigh, this is truly difficult. Even Tao sovereigns are unable to refine it. How could I possibly refine it? Seeing Chun Xiang coming out, Lu Yuchuan sighed. What kind of reaction would there be if I were to shatter these 2 stones inside the pill furnace? Chun Xiang asked. These 2 stones are very difficult to refine. Maybe it will be easier to destroy them. If it were to shatter, the stone would lose its special power and it would be useless. Lu Yuchuan shook his head. This will not work. You tried. Chun Xiang asked again. I tried. Lu Yuchuan nodded his head. Furthermore, it's not easy to break. I also used a lot of power to break it, and after shattering it, I'll be similar to a normal rock. Those Tao sovereigns must have also tried this method before. When it breaks, would there be an explosion? Chun Xiang was more worried about this, so he came out to ask. He was worried that it would cause too much of a commotion. I don't know about that, but these stones are quite strange too. After breaking them into pieces, there isn't much energy that can explode out. Instead, they are very quiet and become useless. Lu Yuchuan said. I'll think of another way. Chun Xiang returned to his room and took out his Chuangshi God furnace. He was prepared to use the crash method to refine this Shengdao Dan from the very beginning. After asking Lu Yuchuan if it would produce any strong powers, he was relieved and went to try it. The red and gold-colored stones inside the pill furnace were also wrapped in a wave of Daoyuan immortal power. He would need to release 2 more sets of meteor immortal power S later and attach them to the 2 stones, allowing the 2 stones to fiercely collide with each other under the force of the extremely strong meteor immortal power. Begin! With just a thought from Chun Xiang, the meteor immortal power immediately gushed out. In order to be successful, he used a lot of Daoyuan immortal power S, and he was also very strong. The 2 stones fiercely clashed together, causing the Chuangshi God furnace to sway slightly. In the instant of impact, golden and red light exploded out. Chun Xiang also anxiously used the creation flames to temper the energy that erupted. What Chun Xiang found inconceivable was that such a violent collision actually did not produce any strong fluctuations. This was completely different from the medicinal ingredients that he had refined in the past. After the collision, the interior of the pill furnace was covered with a large number of golden and red granules. They were radiating light and rotated in a spiral shape. 1 gold and 1 red. They were both extremely beautiful. When Chun Xiang used the creation flame to refine it, those pitiful little things slowly turned into liquid and turned into medicinal liquid. Soon enough, he condensed a gold-red medicinal liquid ball inside the pill furnace. At this point, he had pretty much succeeded. Chun Xiang was secretly happy, because he took down a type of pill that no one else could refine. After that, it was a piece of cake. He divided the pellet into 5 parts and started to condense the pellet. However, it was not easy to condense the pellet. It took him 6 hours to successfully condense 5 golden red pellets. This is the Shengdao Dan. I wonder if it has the same effects as the Shengdao Dan. Who exactly created this pill's formula? The guy who created it can definitely refine it. Chun Xiang could not help but start to ponder. He was curious about the method the creator used to refine the pill, and whether he was like him or not. Chun Xiang walked out of the room happily, but he did not see Lu Yuchuan. It was already dusk, and he did not know where Lu Yuchuan had gone to, so he could only look for him. Xianxia, where are you going? Just as Xianxia walked out of the courtyard, he saw Yan Guang and Lu Yuchuan walking over. I was just going to look for you. Xianxia laughed. Elder Lu, where did you go? There's a alchemist refining Shengdao Dan, Lu Yuchuan said. His face did not look good, but Xianxia found it strange. This should be a good thing. Xianxia had also just refined a Shengdao Dan, and this pill was indeed very difficult to refine. Now that there was someone else that could refine it, he was very curious to know what method that person used. But when he saw Lu Yuchuan's unsightly expression, it was definitely because of this matter. Elder Lu, why are you so unhappy? Isn't it good for someone to refine a Shengdao Dan? Xianxia asked. Not good at all, Lu Yuchuan said with a face filled with anger. He looked as though he had suffered a great grievance. Xianxia looked at Yan Guang, who sighed and said, Let's go in, then talk. Xianxia entered the hall with them and poured Lu Yuchuan a cup of tea. Elder Lu, calm down. Don't take that kind of thing to heart. It's not good for your mood. This guy is too much of a bastard. Elder Lu cursed out, then took a sip of tea. Xianxia could only watch from the side. Yan Guang saw Xianxia's puzzled look and sighed. Someone had called over alchemist like Elder Lu after refining the Shengdao Dan, and that guy had also refined a furnace for us to see. This was originally a good thing. It's just that the person who refined the Shengdao Dan was a very proud and arrogant guy. At this time, Elder Lu took over and angrily said, This guy actually wants us to take him as our master. Only then is he willing to teach us the method of refining the pill. Moreover, he said that if we can't refine this kind of pill, even if it's useless, we should go to the battlefield. Furthermore, he even asked the 3 Dao sovereigns to bestow upon him the title of Grandmaster. When we meet him, he wants us to respectfully address him as teacher. This bastard. The most important thing is that he is pressuring the 3 Dao sovereigns. Only when we acknowledge him as our master will he be willing to teach us the method to refine Shengdao Dan. After Xianxia heard these words, he frowned. This person was truly too arrogant. He did not teach him, but instead wanted to say something like that. It was as though refining a Shengdao Dan would make him invincible. The 3 Dao sovereigns are definitely not fools. He definitely won't force you into a corner, right? Xianxia said. He will not do it now, but it will be hard to say in the future because he is in urgent need of Shengdao Danes and he is the only one who knows how to refine them, so he will definitely not be able to refine them himself. Furthermore, he is unwilling to pass down the techniques to others. Lu Yuchuan said. Is this guy really that arrogant? Xianxia laughed. Let me teach him a lesson, he's still in the city. Yan Guang was a little surprised. Don't do anything rash. Right now, one of the Dao sovereigns is inside the city. He is mainly in charge of protecting him. I'm worried that he might be killed by the beasts. Xianxia laughed. I'm not going to beat him up. I'm just going to frustrate his spirit and use a more gentle method to compete with him in pill refining. There shouldn't be any problems, right? The other pills he concocts are terrible, but he knows how to concoct Shengdao Dan. The Dao sovereigns will definitely treat him as a treasure. Lu Yuchuan shook his head. So it's better if I don't. If I force him to become our disciple, then I will have no choice but to leave the spirit wasteland and go somewhere else. Xianxia was clear about the pride of an old alchemist like Lu Yuchuan. In a matter like this, even if he were to die, he would absolutely not compromise. How powerful is he at refining Shengdao Dan? I can coincidentally refine it too. Since he can refine it, then I just happen to have an opponent to compete with. Xianxia said. What? You really can refine a Shengdao Dan? Lu Yuchuan asked quickly. Xianxia took out a Shengdao Dan, threw it to Lu Yuchuan, and smiled. Elder Lu, didn't you guys see him refining Shengdao Dan before? You should be sure if this is a Shengdao Dan or not, right? At the same time, the anger in his heart became a lot more peaceful because right now it was not only the person that he hated that could refine Shengdao Dan. Xianxia could also refine Shengdao Dan as well. Yes, this is the Shengdao Dan. Lu Yuchuan hurriedly nodded. Yan Guang, come take a look. Yan Guang had long been by Lu Yuchuan's side. When he saw that it was the Shengdao Dan, He was pleasantly surprised and said, "This pill looks much better than the one that guy made. That bastard can refine 2 pellets. Brat, how many pellets can you make in 1 furnace?" Lu Yuchuan asked. "You will know soon enough. Let's go find him now." Xianxia smiled mysteriously. Lu Yuchuan and Yan Guang had just returned, and they immediately brought Xianxia to the White Spirit Palace. On the way, Xianxia had already gathered some information that the bastard alchemist Lu Yuchuan was talking about was actually a young man named Tanglang who came from a different city. When Xianxia and the others arrived at the Great Hall of the White Spirit Palace, Yan Guang was in charge of spreading the news. Lu Yuchuan even called quite a few alchemists over, including Master Xianxia. They were all as angry as Lu Yuchuan at this moment. Lu Yuchuan summoned so many alchemists in order to make Tanglang lose face. Let's see how he can still be proud. Very quickly, Tanglang came out. Although he was handsome, he had a very arrogant look, and when he came, he looked at the alchemist with disdain, as if looking down on everyone else, making them hate him. After Tanglang came, just as he was about to say something sarcastic, a black-clothed man suddenly appeared, as if he had used spatial energy to teleport over. This caused Xianxia to be extremely shocked, and he could tell with a glance that this black-clothed man had extremely strong spatial control. The man in black was wearing a black veil, and only half of his face could be seen. The man in black was wearing a black cloth, and only half of his face could be seen. "Tanglang, hold back." The voice of the black-clothed man made Tanglang snort softly. Clearly, this black-robed man was one of the 3 Dao sovereigns, who refined the Shangdao Dan to compete with me. Tanglang used a gaze that was filled with arrogance, looking at everyone. "It's me," Xianxia immediately said, with a faint smile on his face. He looked extremely humble and amiable. "Oh, that's really out of my expectations. Are you sure you can do it?" Tanglang sneered. "If you can do it, why can't I?" Xianxia laughed, with a brilliant smile on his face. Tanglang felt extremely uncomfortable. The woman in black also asked, "Can you really do it?" Her voice was extremely gentle, causing Xianxia's heart to feel at ease. "Of course." Xianxia laughed. "Why don't I exchange pointers with this Grandmaster Tang and forge anything with him? Then are you willing to share the art of alchemy? I'll definitely get a lot of rewards." She actually believed in Xianxia just like that. "Of course." Xianxia nodded his head. "It's just that I can't guarantee that everyone will be able to succeed in using my technique. All seniors should be clear about this. There are some other people's techniques that are not suitable for themselves, no matter how much they are learned. I can't guarantee that I will give it to everyone, and will do my best to let everyone learn it." Seeing that Xianxia's attitude was so good, and even addressed everyone as senior, all the old alchemists present secretly praised Xianxia. It was countless times better than that Tanglang. Tanglang was obviously slapping his face. Although it wasn't really slapping him, it made him very angry, and his face was also burning hot. "Humph, words are empty. Anyone would say that you have to refine them. Moreover, you need to refine them very quickly. Don't waste just a few days to refine a single furnace. Moreover, the quality is the worst kind." Tanglang laughed coldly. "I only took 6 hours to refine it. What about you? Are you capable of it?" 6 hours. That should be fine. How about we compete now?" Xianxia smiled faintly. "Let's compete then." Tanglang snorted, and took out his own pill furnace and Xianxia his own heavenly furnace. The lady in black was also very interested in watching the competition. She knew very well about Shangdao Den's. Even she was unable to refine them, but the 2 young men in front of her could. Of course, she had the best impression of Xianxia, especially that calm and approachable smile of Xianxia, which formed a very clear contrast with Tanglang. "There are no problems with your pill furnaces, you can start now," the black-clothed woman said. The medicinal materials were provided by her. Everyone had 2 stone-like items. Xianxia and Tanglang had started refining at the same time, and while he was refining, he had also used the Dao Heart Eye to check out the other party's pill furnace. He wanted to see what method Tanglang had used, and whether it was the same as his. The method Tanglang used was different from his, but the principles were the same. Initially, Tang Lang used a very unique type of Daoyuan immortal power. He guessed what method Tang Lang used to control the transformation of the Daoyuan immortal power into a type of Daoyuan immortal power with impact, and inserted into the interior of the stone. After entering the interior of the stone, it would gather to a certain degree and break the stone to pieces. However, it wouldn't harm the energy within the stone. This way, the pill would be able to form a core. However, the crash method that Xianxia used was simple and crude, and it could be completed in an instant. At this moment, he was also secretly pondering how to turn it into a method specifically used to refine Shangdao Dan, without causing his heavenly alchemy to leak out. Of course, refining the Shangdao Dan with the crash method was still relatively easy to understand, and it was not as troublesome as clashing for the sake of improving quality. Therefore, he felt that it was not difficult for the alchemist to learn it, because Chu Hongqing had already successfully clashed it out with the Yuyao Mountain Villa, and was already starting to condense the pellet. Because it was his first time refining it before, it took Chun Xiang a long time to do it on his first try, and it was always the same on his first try. But now it was his second time. He was extremely familiar with and adapted to every aspect, so he felt that he could complete it within 6 hours. Chun Xiang very quickly completed the collision process. He had controlled it very well, adding on to the special characteristics of the two stones. The explosion of the energy during the collision was very intense, so the pill furnace was very quiet. After smashing them into pieces, they very quickly turned into medicinal liquid. Following that, Chun Xiang entered the process of condensing a pill. Because of the special nature of the material when refining Shangdao Dan, Chun Xiang felt that condensing a pill was the most difficult stage. Chun Xiang realized that Tang Lang was the same, because Tang Lang had entered the congealing core realm earlier than him, but the progress was slow, and there was still a long period of time before the end of the 6 hours. Very quickly, 6 hours had passed, and Chun Xiang was the first one to complete it. "I'm done." Chun Xiang wiped the perspiration off his face and laughed. "I'm almost there too. Don't be too pleased with yourself. I can refine 2 pellets in a single furnace. Furthermore, I had already made a furnace before. That's why I'm a bit slower now," Tang Lang said. Chun Xiang smiled lightly and opened the lid of the pill furnace. He took out 5 golden red pills that were glowing with a golden light, looking just like pearls. It was extremely beautiful. Everyone present were stunned. They knew that Chun Xiang was able to refine Shangdao Dan, but they never expected him to be so powerful to be able to refine 5 of such high-quality pellets in one go. The black-clothed female's pair of beautiful and gentle eyes were even more fluid and filled with amazement. "I have 5 pills." Chun Xiang opened his palm and laughed. Tang Lang also stared with wide eyes, his face full of disbelief. If he did not personally see it, he definitely would not have believed this to be true, because he was extremely confident in his pill techniques and thought that only his method could solve the problem of refining Shangdao Dan. Tonglong's face was flushed red. He had already completed it, but he did not open the lid. He knew that he had lost completely and without a shred of face. Chun Xiang gave these 5 Shangdao Dans to the girl in black and laughed. "How is it? Is this a Shangdao Dan? The furnace I refined earlier also had 5, but I have never eaten them before." "Yes." The woman in black nodded and spoke softly. Chun Xiang took out 1 pellet from inside and threw it to Tang Lang, saying, "Take it. This is for you. Your alchemy skills are also very good. If you weren't so arrogant, I think you could have made it even better. You felt that you could only refine yourself when concocting the pellet, and no matter how you refine it, no one would ever say that you were bad, which was why the quality of the pellets you refined is so poor. I feel that you still have a lot of room to improve yourself, refining 3 or 4 of the good quality Shangdao Dan." Tang Lang received the pellet of Shangdao Dan, and then heavily said, "Many thanks." With that, he quickly left. He did not have the face to stay, but in his heart he was truly grateful to Chun Xiang, allowing him to understand many things just now. "What's your name? I know most of the alchemists in the 3 cities, but I have never seen you before," the woman in black said. "Chun Xiang, I just came." Chun Xiang looked at Lu Yunchuan. "I'm with Lu Lao now. Can you teach everyone the pill techniques you used to refine Shangdao Dan now?" the woman in black asked again. Her voice was soft and sweet, making people feel comfortable listening to it. "Of course." Chun Xiang then started to explain the refining process in detail. In order to let everyone see this more clearly, he even used the magic method furnace to cover up the whole process. The alchemists here were all very outstanding, and after that, everyone started refining in the hall. If there were any problems, Xianxia would instruct them on the spot, like a master instructing his disciple, but he was extremely respectful to these seniors. Most of the alchemists were able to succeed in learning the pill techniques that Xianxia had taught them. It was just that they were unable to learn how to refine pills within 6 hours, so they could at least refine pills. They knew that once they familiarized themselves with the pill techniques, they would be able to increase the quality and quantity of the pills within a shorter period of time. Senior, why don't you try? I can see that you're also an alchemist. Xianxia stood beside the black-clothed female and said while laughing. How can you tell? Do I look like an alchemist? The lady in black laughed lightly and asked. She felt that Xianxia was very interesting, moreover very mysterious. This is my intuition. My intuition is always very accurate. Xianxia laughed. Even though you specialize in spatial energy, I can tell that you are proficient in the way of pills. When I was explaining, you listened very carefully, and when I was teaching pill refining, you also listened very carefully. If I wasn't an alchemist, you wouldn't be that interested. Good eye. The girl in black smiled and said, You have already fulfilled your promise and passed down your pill techniques to everyone. Now I will also reward you. Follow me. The black-clothed female was one of the 3 Tao sovereigns. The heavy pay that she mentioned must definitely be very heavy. Although the old alchemists were envious, they were not jealous because they knew that Xianxia should have it. Xianxia followed behind the black-clothed female into the depths of the White Spirit Palace. At this moment, he was in a passage which led to the ground. Senior, what's your name? You might be a Tao sovereign, but you should have a name, right? Xianxia asked. Guess. The black-clothed woman smiled sweetly and said, He can't be called the black-robed Tao sovereign, can he? Xianxia thought he was truly unable to guess. Your alchemy skills are so high, but you still can't guess. The girl in black took off her veil, revealing her beautiful face, causing Xianxia to exclaim in his heart. Another beauty. Xianxia thought he had seen many beauties, so he would not be captivated by them. His level of willpower was cultivated by many beauties. Bai Ling, Xianxia said. My full name is Xia Bailing. She smiled lightly and stuck out her tongue. Do you think I'm not pretty enough? Why do you only have this kind of reaction when you see me? Xianxia laughed. Don't tell me you want me to act like I want to eat you? Sister Bai Ling, you are really beautiful. It's just that I have a strong resistance towards beautiful women. Hee hee. You can't be not interested in women, right? Xia Bailing's voice was always so gentle and pleasant to hear. Now that she was joking with Xianxia, with a hint of mischievousness in her tone, it was even more special. Don't spout nonsense. My interest in women has never waned. It's just that I've had around 8 beauties like you before. Hee hee. Xianxia smirked. This is also why I am so resistant to beauties. I really can't tell that you're a bad person. Xia Bailing laughed and said, What do you want now? If I have something, I'll give it to you. Then why did you bring me here? Xianxia had already followed Xia Bailing into a secret room. He thought that they would come to a treasury, allowing him to choose some sort of treasure. Of course it's to teach me alchemy. What do you think I brought you here for? Take off your clothes and roll around in bed with you. Xia Bailing laughed. You're not a good person either. Xianxia laughed dryly. Although Xia Bailing looked delicate and pretty, her gentle voice made people feel that she was naive and innocent. They never thought that she could make such a joke out of them. Why aren't you studying outside? Isn't this wasting my time? Xianxia curled his lips. I'm worried that if I make a mistake while studying outside, it will be very embarrassing. I'm a girl, and my skin is very thin. I can't afford to embarrass myself like that. Xia Bailing pouted. Your skin is almost as thick as mine. You really can't see where it has thinned out. Xianxia said snappily. All right, then from now on, ask me again if you have anything you don't understand. Got it, good teacher. Xia Bailing giggled and took out a pill furnace. Xianxia was completely speechless. No matter what, this Xia Beiling was still a Dao sovereign, but now he looked like a mischievous little girl. He could not help but ask, "You really are a Dao sovereign?" "Of course, don't you think so?" Xia Beiling asked while blinking his eyes. "What do they look like?" Xianxia asked in reply, "You are obviously called by Ling, and you are even dressed in black. It's very strange." "Humph. You're underestimating me, aren't you? However, if you see any other Dao sovereigns, you'll know that I'm much better than them." Xia Beiling scoffed. "No matter how weak they are, they should be more like Dao sovereigns than you." Xiang curled his lips. "Don't tell me that just because she's a girl, she thinks that she doesn't look like a Dao sovereign?" Xia Beiling said with a blushing face. Xiang didn't know how brave he was, but he actually extended his hand and pinched her face. And pinching a girl's face was something he had gotten used to over the years, especially when he was face to face with such a cute face. He couldn't help but want to pinch her. Xia Beiling did not expect Xiang to touch her face, and this caused her to be at a loss of what to do for a moment. After being stunned for a moment, her face was filled with anger as she coldly shouted, "You actually touched me. You're dead for sure." Xia Beiling was very angry and immediately rushed over to beat Xiang up, scaring Xiang to the point that his face turned pale. Xia Beiling was a Dao Lord. He was definitely strong. He was worried that the eccentric Dao Lord would beat him to death. However, Xia Beiling merely pounded his chest lightly and then laughed coquettishly. "You must be scared to death. It's funny how you look scared out of your wits." The muscles on Xiang's face started to twitch. He almost wanted to pinch her butt, or just pinch her chest like he did with his own woman. Of course, he wouldn't do that. It was an extremely suicidal action. "Go refine pills." Xiang snorted. This Xia Beiling, no matter how you looked at him, looked like a child. How could he have the appearance of a legendary revered Dao Lord? Xia Beiling stuck his tongue out at Xiang and even made a face at him, then laughed. "I think you're still the best. Much better than that Tanglang. I had wanted to give Tanglang a good beating, or scare him, or make him cry for his parents. It's just that he knows how to refine Shangdao Dan. I don't dare to do that." "Humph, I also know how to refine Shangdao Dan. If you had known earlier, you would have hated me that much." Xiang rolled his eyes at her. He was quite frightened just now and almost cried for his mother. "I was wrong," Xia Beiling said in a soft and tender voice. "I've forgiven you. Hurry up and refine the pills after I teach you. I still have to cultivate. I am only at the Dao Dan realm now," Xiang urged. Xia Beiling also knew that Xiang's cultivation was low. She nodded, showing that she understood. After she threw the ingredients into the pill furnace, she took out 2 small red beads and placed them under the furnace. "Is that a fire pearl? You don't know how to use flames." When Xiang had used the Dao Heart Eye to look at them, he could see that the 2 pearls contained an extremely strong power of fire. "I'm not proficient in fire. I mainly train in spatial energy. But this does not affect me from becoming an alchemist. I have been relying on this pearl for my alchemy for all these years," Xia Beiling said as she laughed daintily and tossed a fire pearl over to Xiang. "I use space to compress this pearl and look for some good flames to compress and seal within it. So you're saying you train in the space laws and that you're really focused? I'm really ashamed of myself," Xiang praised. He was cultivating both space and flames at the same time. "Oh, don't tell me you are training in multiple types of law energies at the same time," Xia Beiling asked curiously, as she had already started to use the crash method to refine the pill. When Xiang had guided those old alchemists in refining, she had pointed out various places that needed attention, and they had all been memorized by Xia Beiling. Thus, the moment she had started refining, she had avoided the areas that could easily go wrong. Xiang did not immediately reply. At the same time, he also indicated for Xia Beiling to focus on concocting pills. "I succeeded." Xia Beiling laughed happily. She had already completed the charge step. As long as she could smoothly pass through this obstacle, the rest would be very easy. She had succeeded by more than half. "You're so amazing that you don't even need my guidance." Xiang curled his lips. "You can obviously refine it very smoothly, but I'm worried that I might make a mistake. I'll be embarrassed later." Xia Beiling stuck his tongue out at Xiang. If I made a mistake and only you saw it yourself, I'm not worried that you would say anything. What, you want to kill me and silence me? Xianxia laughed. Of course not. I have a way to keep you quiet. Xia Bailing pouted. Seems like you aren't afraid of me. Of course I'm afraid. You're a Tao sovereign, so I'm afraid you'll die of fear. Xianxia said. Humph. Xia Bailing scoffed several times and asked, not only do you cultivate flame, even so, you are still a very powerful alchemist, and this is pretty good too. I train in spatial energy too, it's just a piece of cake. I don't think you're that amazing, Xianxia said. Xianxia had a very good grasp of spatial energy, and this was one of the hardest laws to learn from, otherwise he wouldn't have been able to cultivate such a powerful mark like the white tiger's jump. When he encountered a spirit formation or something like that ceiling space, he could easily jump through space using the white tiger. This was a very high level. Nonsense, since you can cultivate the power of the space laws, then you definitely won't be too weak. This space law isn't something that anyone can train in, and if you have the chance to do so, then you certainly aren't weak. Xia Bailing didn't believe a word of Xianxia's words. It could be seen how much understanding she had of the laws of space she cultivated. Sister Bai Ling, you must be very good at spatial cultivation. Please teach me. Xianxia laughed. There's nothing to teach. Everyone trains in different types of space laws. What I can't teach you is because different types of space laws are comprehended by everyone. Xia Bailing said. You should be clear about this yourself. Did you really not get taught anything? Xianxia was a little disappointed. I think I'm still lacking in this area. All right, your specialty is pill refining. Xia Bailing laughed. Although I know how to refine pills, I might not be as powerful as you. Furthermore, the spatial energy I cultivate is mainly used for battles. It definitely isn't suitable for you. Xianxia would never admit in front of Xia Bailing that he used his spatial energy to escape. Of course not. I'm just cultivating by mistake. I'm also here to fight. Xianxia curled his lips. His spatial energy was indeed frequently used to flee for his life. Xia Bailing laughed and said, you won't admit it no matter what, right? I can tell that a guy like you shouldn't have long to live, but you lived for a very long time. Xianxia did not speak anymore. He was more or less able to guess what was going on. Sister Bai Ling, I only came here to hide after provoking some powerful people outside. I'm a bit worried that they would barge in right now. Those guys are really scary. Xianxia said. He felt that these Tao sovereigns must know many things. Thus he also wanted to take this opportunity to ask Xia Bailing a few things. Oh, are they the people from the three great native banks? Of course, if the three great native banks came to kill you, you would have already died. Who are they? Is they really that powerful? Xia Bailing asked. Undead divine race. And there's also the red spirit race. Xianxia said. So it's undead divine race. He's indeed a rather difficult guy to deal with, and red spirit race is quite powerful as well. Xia Bailing frowned slightly. Don't worry. As long as you stay in my city, they won't dare to find trouble with you. Sister Bai Ling, you might not know this, but after the undead divine race and the red spirit race combined, they were able to mutate. Xianxia said, although the undead divine race won't die, because he won't die, his power has limited the boundaries. But now that the undead divine race and the red spirit race have joined forces, I wonder what kind of secret technique was used. The undead divine race was able to break through that bottleneck, and because of that, the red spirit race has become longevity. They have become even stronger. Xia Bailing's jade face, which originally had a smile on it, became serious at this moment because this kind of thing was not something that Xianxia could know. At this moment, she was extremely curious about Xianxia's identity. Are you speaking the truth? What exactly are your origins? To actually know about this kind of thing, I only know a little about this sort of thing a while ago. Xia Bailing asked. After that, Xianxia told Xia Bailing about the two generations merging. As a Tao sovereign, Xia Bailing could easily accept and understand this kind of thing. You don't have to worry about that. There will be three great native banks restricting them, and inside the spirit wasteland, there are beasts restricting us humans. Xia Bailing sighed. In short, we passed many years like this. Xia Beiling very quickly finished refining a batch of Shengdao Dan. She only used 4 hours and even refined 3 of the high-quality Shengdao Dan. Alright, I can now refine a Shengdao Dan. What reward do you want? Have you decided? Xia Beiling laughed. Do you have anything good? Take it all out for me to choose from. Chen Xiang thought about it and said. Chen Xiang didn't know what he needed in return. He had a lot of jade money including other heavenly artifact and even some weapons. He felt that he wasn't really lacking anything, he was just lacking in strength. No, just say what you want. I'll just give it to you as much as I can. Xia Beiling laughed. If I have it, I will definitely give it to you. If I feel that I can get it for you, I will also get it for you. I didn't think of that at the moment. How about this? Give me a few days to think. I want to tell you. Chen Xiang said. Don't call me old man. Be careful that I don't hit you. Xia Beiling pretended to be fierce and warned. Fine, you can stay in the White Spirit Palace. I'll give you special privileges. You can enter however you want, and even give you a room. If you have anything you need, you can also send me a message. Just come straight to me. Xia Beiling gave Chen Xiang a jade token, which he could also pass on to others. Thank you, Sister Bai Ling. Chen Xiang smiled and nodded. Good girl. Xia Beiling rubbed Chen Xiang's head and chuckled. All right, I'm going back to work. You should go cultivate first, you're really too weak now. I just refined the Shengdao Dan and it's for you. Aside from that, Xia Beiling also gave Chen Xiang quite a few of the Shengdao Dan's medicinal herbs and told him to refine them in this secret room. After Chen Xiang ate a Shengdao Dan, its medicinal power was extremely strong and almost allowed him to break through to the 8th level of the Dao Dan realm. This was only half a day of time, and after eating another, he very easily broke through to the 8th level of the Dao Dan realm. It's already very fast from the 10th stage, and Dao per realm will be next. That's still not an issue. At this time he had a lot of Dao Dan realm to eat, and he would be able to cultivate to the 10th stage very quickly. And inside the Yu Yao mountain villa, Chu Hongqing had also planted that kind of stone. The 2 types of stones used to refine Shengdao Dan were both cores that had been obtained from within a type of fruit. As long as he could plant it, Chen Xiang could produce a large number of Shengdao Dan. In just 10 short days, Chen Xiang had already broken through to the 10th level of the Dao Dan realm. Such a quick time caused Yang Xiangyin to be incomparably shocked. Haha! I will be entering the Dao per realm soon. You all just wait. There will be a day when I don't have to hide anymore, and I will kill all of you bastards. Chen Xiang laughed loudly, then walked out of the secret room. He took out the jade tablet that Xia Beiling had given him and transmitted to Xia Beiling. Sister Bai Ling? Where are you? I want to meet you. Xia Beiling immediately responded. I'll go find you right now. Don't move from your spot. Chen Xiang stood where she was and did not move. Before long, Xia Beiling had arrived, but she looked rather relaxed now, so she came as soon as she said it. What's the matter? Xia Beiling asked. You have been cultivating these past few days, right? I'll take you to your place. Chen Xiang laughed as he followed behind her. I haven't seen beautiful Sister Bai Ling for a few days. I miss you a lot. Xia Beiling laughed tenderly. You little pimp, did you think of what you want as compensation? I feel very uncomfortable without giving you your reward in one day. Not yet. Chen Xiang said. I am already at the 10th level of the Dao Dan realm. Shengdao Dan are indeed strong. Of course, this pill formula is not something that I can obtain easily. Of course it's amazing. Xia Beiling said. It's just that the pill formula that he gave me is incomplete, which is why I don't know how to refine it. Xia Beiling brought Chen Xiang to a very good room. Each room was very spacious. Right, we have to find the beast race for negotiations tomorrow. Do you want to join in the fun with me? Xia Beiling asked. Of course. I've never seen the beasts here before. Chen Xiang immediately nodded his head. Oh right, Sister Bai Ling. Are there beasts as powerful as you? Yes, they are also beasts that belong to the heavenly Dao. They also have Dao sovereigns and stuff like that. Of course they're powerful, and those guys are innately strong as well. Xia Beiling nodded his head. This spirit wasteland is even more so. We have to guard against this group of beasts all day long. If we humans are not here, the spirit wasteland will be dominated by beasts. They would leave tomorrow. Xia Bailing and Xianxia also sat in this house tonight. She didn't know why, but she felt that Xianxia was very close to her, and that was why she got along so well. It only took a few days for them to get to know each other very well. The next morning, Xianxia woke up early. He was the one who knocked on Xia Bailing's door to wake him up. Xia Bailing rubbed his sleepy eyes and yawned. "Morning! You're a Tao sovereign. So why are you sleeping so soundly?" Xianxia felt that it was extremely strange. Forget about Xia Bailing, even for people like him from the Daodan realm, it was very rare for him to wake up like Xia Bailing with his eyes half open. "You don't understand. Wait until you become a Tao sovereign. Then you'll know that this sleeping method of mine is most useful." Xia Bailing had already become a lot more energetic by now, so he closed the door before going back to wash up. After Xianxia waited for a while, Xia Bailing opened the door and started humming a cheerful tune while carrying a plate of pastries. "Hurry up and eat. You're the only man who has eaten the pastries I made myself." Xia Bailing laughed. "You won't die if you eat it, right?" Xianxia looked at those pastries. Although they were pretty, he did not know how they tasted like. "If you don't eat now, you'll definitely be beaten to death by me. Eat." Xia Bailing laughed and purposely revealed an extremely fierce expression. Xianxia grabbed a piece of cake and placed it in his mouth. He chewed it a few times and praised, "I never thought it would be so delicious. I am ready to puke." Xia Bailing scoffed. "How could you look down on me like that? I'm a Tao sovereign after all, and an alchemist at that." After eating, Xianxia entered one of Xia Bailing's carriage. Although the carriage looked small, it was extremely spacious in the interior. It was obvious that Xia Bailing had used his spatial energy to expand the carriage, making it a piece of cake for her. Right now, Xianxia was lying on a couch, whistling very comfortably. "This time we were the three Tao sovereigns. The Void Tao Sovereign and the Azure Sun Holy Man had a conversation with them before, and I didn't ask them how the discussion was going. They only told me to go again, and also asked me to go with them." Bai Ling said. The three cities were called White Spirit City, Void City, and Xingyang City, all named after the Tao Lord. "Will I be able to meet the other two Tao sovereigns then?" Xianxia asked. "Yeah. What's so exciting about seeing them?" Xia Bailing laughed tenderly. "But you don't have to be disappointed. They don't look like Tao sovereigns anymore. They're all men, right? They definitely look more like Tao sovereigns than you." Xianxia laughed. "We'll see." Xia Bailing made a face at Xianxia. Xia Bailing controlled the horse carriage to travel through space, and before long, they arrived at the negotiation location, which was a wasteland near the Beastman tribe. Xianxia got off the horse carriage and saw a few people in the wasteland. Beasts had yet to arrive. He looked closely at the men, and he was surprised, for two of them were children, only 5 or 6 years old. These two children were both tender and cute. One of them wore a white robe while the other wore a green one. Their clothes also looked luxurious, and there were many decorations hanging on their bodies. In addition, the white-clothed child was riding a very small white lion, while the green-clothed child was riding a blue bird. "You must have gone silly. These two brats are the Void Holy Man and the Azure Sun Holy Man. Their white robes are the Void, while their azure clothes are the Azure Sun." Xia Bailing laughed proudly. "Do you think that I have the most appearance of a Tao sovereign now?" Xianxia swallowed his saliva. He could not believe that the Tao sovereign that the three cities respected and revered was actually like this. "Bai Ling, you're late again. You clearly have a high mastery of spatial energy, but you're always late. You must have done it on purpose." The Void Holy Man galloped over on his little white lion and shouted with his tender voice. His young and cute little face was very solemn, making him look strange. "Little thing, it's not the first time that Big Sister has been late. You should be used to it." Xia Bailing snorted. "This is different. We are here to negotiate with the beast race. If we lose too many people, our momentum will weaken. This will be very disadvantageous to our negotiations." The Void Jinren's face was filled with seriousness. Xianxia really wanted to laugh out loud. With these two brats here, Their auras were already weak to the point of exploding. Right. The three of us Dao sovereigns should be together. That is the only way to frighten the enemy. Bai Ling, how old are you already? You're still a little immature. How many times have I told you that you have put such an important matter behind you? The Azure Sun holy man, mounted on the little cyan bird, flew over and reprimanded them with his soft voice. Chun Xiang looked at Xia Bailing and saw Xia Bailing stick his tongue out at him. Then, Xia Bailing laughed. All right, it's fine if you don't come late next time, right? I thought you guys were here on your own, but I didn't expect you guys to bring people here. Didn't you bring someone with you? Who is this kid? It doesn't look that powerful either. The Void Holy Man raised his head to look at Chun Xiang and asked. Chun Xiang didn't know whether to laugh or cry in his heart. At this moment, he was unsure if the two Dao sovereigns who looked like children were real or not. He's the one who refined the Shengdao Dan. I brought him here to join in on the fun. Do you have any objections? If not, I'll send him back right now. Xia Bailing said. It's fine. Since we're already here, the more people there are, the stronger the momentum will be. The Azure Sun Dao sovereign nodded. Now that Chun Xiang saw the three Dao sovereigns standing together, he felt that they were just three exotic flowers. Of course, he didn't have the feeling that the two children were weak. They were definitely powerful, otherwise they wouldn't have been able to become Dao sovereigns. Last time we talked to them, that group of wild beasts were more aggressive. They liked to negotiate using combat methods, so this time we brought 3 fighters to talk to them. The Void Holy Man said. Xia Bailing took a look at the 3 people they had brought with them. All of them were only of the Dao Dan realm and were also of the 10th stage. Let's fight with the Dao Dan realm S? Xia Bailing frowned. This is what they requested. They said that they will also send out Dao Dan realm beasts. They are also here to see the difference between us humans and their younger generation. The Azure Sun Holy Man said. What if we lose? Xia Bailing asked. A loss means a failure in the negotiations. They won't be negotiating with the losers. When the time comes, we can only go back home and prepare for an all-out war. The Void Holy Man said. If we win, we can fight for 2 years. Xia Bailing said. If we can get 2 years, then we can make even more adequate preparations, especially now that we have Shengdao Dan. Both Kong and Qingyang nodded. This was also done to reduce the number of casualties. Not long after, Chun Xiang felt a strong qi approaching. Compared to them, the beasts seemed to be much stronger, and the beasts around them were much weaker. There were hundreds of them, and both Su Kong and Qingyang were looking at them with displeasure. Don't worry, we are still very strong, Void said to the person behind him. The other side's beasts had already taken human form. Moreover, they were riding a huge beast. As they rushed forward, those huge beasts were still roaring non-stop. It was very scary. Chun Xiang was shocked even when he saw this. Now he understood why Qingyang and the others wanted to negotiate and strive for more time. It was because the other party was not weak. Haha, are you really just these few people? Are you afraid that you won't be able to bring it back if you bring it back? His voice was like thunder, and the huge tiger he was sitting on was like a small mountain. In terms of aura, it was absolutely able to suppress them. Xia Bailing seemed to be accustomed to this kind of thing, but she did not feel that it was anything strange. Instead, it was Su Kong and Qingyang who had faces full of unhappiness. As long as I can beat you guys, quickly send your people over. You promised that as long as you can defeat your juniors, you will agree to our conditions, right? Void said. Chun Xiang felt a little speechless. A child like Su Kong, and he was even riding on a very cute little white lion. Li Bao, go and exchange pointers with them, don't kill them. If you're going to make them suffer forever, let's let them live under your fear. This will be much more interesting than killing them. The leader laughed, following which a tall man suddenly appeared. He wasn't that type of tall and sturdy, with a leopard tattoo on his face. It should be a leopard. Which one of you is coming? Li Bao looked at Chun Xiang, then looked at the 3 men behind him. Li Bao's strength was still quite strong, and he was able to tell it with a single glance. Especially with regards to restraining his strength, it made him secretly praise it in his heart. Tian Rue, Go meet him. Don't kill them. We are human beings, not as bloodthirsty as their beasts. Void said. Tianrui was a man who looked calm and steady. With his sharp eyes, Xianxia felt goosebumps just by looking at him. With one look, he could tell that he was a fierce person. Xianxia was only watching from the side. This allowed him to clearly understand the level of the experts in the spirit wasteland. Tianrui, be careful, Qingyang urged.